Hello, everybody, and welcome to my new lesson of lesson 3 of Unit A, Student Book Grade 3. It's a science. Here, I think you know this book. It's by Scott Bushman. And anyways, today we'll be learning about lesson 3. How do adaptations help animals? Adaptations can help animals by a lot of things, such as a beak of a bird. A beak of a bird could help it eat the food it needs. For example, a pelican has a big beak pouch that looks like a pouch, so it can scoop up fish easily. And a red cardinal, also has quite a small beak, like a triangular beak, so it can break open seeds. And a warbler has a small fin bill that pick out insects easily. And hummingbirds also have long beaks so that they can pick up other insects that are in places that are impossible to reach. So yeah, that's one adaptation, the beak of a bird. What are some other adaptations? Maybe a pelican can also have webbed feet. Webbed feet is also good for swimming. Sometimes beaks are also good for fighting, and teeth are also good for chewing, depending on if it's a carnivore, a herbivore, or an omnivore. It can depend on its food, depends on its environment, and depends on what actions it does. So adaptations, that's much of it. And also one more thing is that there are traits that we can inherit from. This is actually not like adaptations, because, well, inherit is still a bit like, it's a bit like adaptations. Inherit is like if you have yellow eyes, for example, and your mom also have yellow eyes. Like maybe your mom has yellow eyes and you also have yellow eyes. And for example, maybe a beak is yellow and the other beak is also yellow, and this bird is like large, and maybe it can also be large. And so like inherit adaptations, that's what could be one way, like webbed feet like a pelican. And body parts are also important in adaptations, like eagles and hawks use their claws to grab food and prey and steal and snatch. Pelicans use webbed feet, and a porcupine has front teeth that cut off plants. And now this is page 50 and 51. We see animals for protection. So there's several ways that animals can protect itself. For example, a porcupine could protect itself from quills outside its body. So that's a good way of protecting their enemies. But there are also lots more. For example, they also have camouflage. Camouflage is the act of blending into an object. For example, if this is a black background, then I wear a black t-shirt, then I could camouflage into the black background. And maybe if a bee is inside a yellow flower, for example, maybe it can camouflage in the yellow parts and camouflage inside the pollen. Other ways are armor. I know a way that a cassowary. A cassowary is a bit interesting. It's like a colorful ostrich, I should say, a bit like that. It's black and it has a blue and red beak. And what's interesting is that it has armor. it has a tough fluff helmet, that's what I should say, that protects its head when it runs through a bush. Like it hits through the predator and escapes it. It's like a big helmet, like a hard helmet. And one interesting one I bet you didn't know is mimicry. Now, mimicry is the act of copying another animal. Most of the animals that are copied are dangerous. Let me show you an example. For example, a harmless fly looks just like a dangerous bee. Like a harmless hoverfly looks like a dangerous hornet. Or a viceroy butterfly looks like a bad-tasting monarch butterfly. So we'll get to that later when monarch butterflies are not tasty. Anyways, and as a harmless, that means that a harmless animal copies another animal. Like it looks like another animal. Animals can like jump or swim like another animal and fly like another animal, depends. And they also mimic the other animal. Mimic is like copy. And that's why it's called mimicry. Why one single helpless animal can turn into look like a dangerous animal. And another one is poison. Poison, for example, the puffer. And an interesting animal that has both armor and poison is a pufferfish. I bet you have heard this fish before, but it's a fish that has spikes. Spikes that are so poisonous. Let me tell you some facts about the pufferfish. Well, the pufferfish has spikes that are very poisonous. I don't exactly know, but I've heard that there's a neurotoxin called tetrodotoxin, and it's really poisonous, much more poisonous. And also I've heard that the poison almost have no cure, so maybe it's not quite. And they also have armor. The pufferfish has armor with the spikes, like spikes and horns could also be armor, and well, they're sort of like armor because what a pufferfish has sort of body. Anyways, let's move to another. Now I'll tell you why monarch butterflies taste bad. Well, the monarch butterfly eats a type of flower that tastes not good. If you smell the flowers, well, its odor is a bit bad for sure. And depends. And as monarch butterflies eat and pollinate the food they eat inside their flowers, that makes a disgusting odor. So they taste bad. So that's why they have few predators. Coral snakes are also one type of interesting snake, as they also have poisonous fangs. Now let me answer the questions. I already gave you 2 examples of adaptations and tell you why they help the animals survive. And what are some ways that animals protect themselves from enemies? I just told you some examples, like a pufferfish. It has poison and spikes and armor. And about mimicry and camouflage, maybe a cuttlefish or maybe a squid, it depends on whatever animal it is. Maybe a bright fish, like maybe a lionfish, I don't know. But maybe it can blend in with the coral reefs and, hide in there, like cuttlefish. They can, or chameleons. That's a good animal. Like they can also change color with their habitat. Depends. Now let's go on to page 52 and page 53. Okay, behaviors that help animals. Animals can have lots of behaviors that can help animals. For example, an insect like a monarch butterfly just kind of like know that they need to migrate. They aren't learned that, for example, an adult butterfly is like and teaches his kid was like, hey baby, just migrate to another place. And that baby butterfly is like, why, Dad? No, that's not how it works. It inherits. The inherits is to pass on a trait. And a trait is something that is passed on. Like, for example, I think I've told you that. And they learn how to migrate. Another example is how they learn to hibernate. They just know how to hibernate, inside the cold winter. As well, I don't know exactly the reason. And also they are learning things. It's not like instincts. Instincts, they just know what to do. But learning, they need to learn from their parents. For example, cats, like lions and hyenas and tigers, they need to teach their son, and they need to teach the child how to hunt. For example, how to hunt meat and how to become an adult. Like a seagull learns how to hunt a fish. And chimpanzees also need to learn how to eat food. So, well, that's it. That's a lot of traits. And, well, I should say that lesson 3 is a very long lesson. That's why it's taking me so long. But, well, remember to subscribe and like to my channel. If you like Learning Teacher Alex, subscribe. If you like this channel, I think your school may learn this book. Depends on what school you are in. Well, that's it of adaptations. And we have learned a bit of protection, adaptations, and behaviors, instincts, and learning that can help English. So I think you enjoyed this video. Hope you, subscribe and like. And, well, that's it. Bye-bye.